Welcome to the Hello Coco podcast. It's all things video marketing for startups and small businesses. I'm your host, Chase Lang. Before we get started, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button and click the little notification bell to get access to our shows as soon as they drop. Also, if you'd leave a comment and a 5-star review, that'd help us out tremendously, and it would make you a super awesome human. And today we have an awesome special guest, a buddy, a friend of mine, way up in Pennsylvania, Kevin HACKENBERG. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me, Ben.
Yeah, I'm excited to do this. I actually got to be a guest on your podcast here not too long ago, and that was so much fun. I thought we have to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to begin, Kevin, you run you're the founder, owner of Get Kinetic, which is a production company. Whereabouts in Pennsylvania are you?
We're here in Philadelphia, man, the city of sometimes brotherly love.
Nice. So I want to actually just jump in right there because I've had a chance to, look at your website, look at your work. You've worked with some amazing clients like Pfizer, the Pennsylvania Ballet, Avon, David's Bridal, Random House, NBC. I mean, you have a huge list of clients, a very impressive list of clients. So I wanted to just start by asking you, how did you end up starting this company and working with this company? Tell me a little bit about your story and how you got here.
So I graduated from film school in Messiah College, Temple University in 1995. I'm an old head, and got out and immediately dived into the film industry, trying to work my way into movies, and just love everything creative. Just love everything creative. So I worked a lot in motion pictures as a technician, but on the side, I just liked creating things, every part of it. I made some camp videos for my camp and just really had a good time putting everything together. The first time I knew I wanted to be a producer and do client work, I made a little video for my buddy's, it was a youth retreat. And he was just like, I just need a promo video. And so I got my friend on his little retro scooter. We put a bunch of stuff on the back, art directed the heck out of it, hockey stick, teddy bear, all strapped to the back. And we just went out and did this little video. And it's a friend of mine. So I hand delivered him this VHS promo video on New Year's Eve at a New Year's Eve party. And he watched it 3 times. The ball was dropping. He was like, I don't care about that. I want to watch. This is so fun. So awesome. And then the next morning, we all woke up at this house we were all crashing at, and he watched it another 4 times. He was super excited. And so for me, that was awesome. I created this, what was for me a work of art. For him, it was a marketing tool.
Yeah, I hope he didn't have a date there because then she's very much shunned.
we were both very stigmatized.
Okay.
Very much, and continue to be for so many years.
Oh man, yeah, I can just see the ball dropping, and he's like, "No, sorry, I'm seeing Kevin's video."
I love this video.
Yes.
But it was my first experience, seeing a client watch. Sometimes you hand deliver, but seeing somebody love what you did for them,
right,
was really a nice special moment. And then I was like, I could charge a lot for that experience. No. But yeah, you gotta make a living, you gotta pay your rent and now your mortgage. And
yeah.
So you do have to ask.
So when you were
ask your clients for money to help give them that experience.
So when you were starting, what was anytime you start up a business like this, there's always a really difficult time, especially at the beginning, just gathering clients. How did you go about doing that to end up with the list you have now?
Well, a lot of it was word of mouth. And like I said, my day job back then, the beginning of my career, was working as a set technician in film and as a grip. And I would, 3 to 5 days a week be on a film set, meeting other producers. And then the digital revolution came in, the mini DV cameras kicked in, and producers would be like, hey, I got this client that doesn't have room for everything we do with a full production crew shooting on 16 millimeter film or even Betacam. They just need some little mini DV guy to go out. So I would get referrals, people that knew that I was producing on the side. Other producers would, other producers and directors would refer me out as a cinematographer to go handle stuff. So I was like a producer, cinematographer, and the directing kind of came in the middle of that. And then running a company just kind of evolved from that to, about the time I kind of was ready to retire from gripping, to become a full-time cinematographer and director. I just got these referrals came in from like pharmaceutical companies and other a big software company, and pretty soon my company kicked off faster than my freelance directing kicked off. So,
well, tell me. So, I mean, this is a question that I get all the time, so I'm sure you've had to deal with it. How did you deal with the fact that so many people view video as like this cheap thing or not worth very much, and making the leap from doing, lower budget commercials, ads, spots for people, to actually where you're working with these bigger clients with bigger budgets? And how did you make that leap? Did you have any struggles there?
what's interesting, still do. I mean, still do. We all have like now 4K cameras in our pockets. And sometimes I tell my clients, when a client calls me and says like, "Oh, here's what I have," and I'm like, "Hey, man, you should really consider just pulling out your iPhone and turning it sideways, and and get the job done. If you're gonna, and maybe you, or like, hey, I can hire a kid out of college, out of film school." I'm like, I was that guy.
Yeah.
Go for it, But then they usually call me back and they're like, "Well, we're really looking for that thing we see on your reel. You've got the good lighting and the good sound and the good storytelling." And I'm like, "Yeah, you just multiplied the budget you have for one guy for an hour. You just multiplied it by a lighting guy and a script person and and a sound artist." So you have to kind of like convince people that video is this scalable thing.
Yeah.
The analogy I like to use all the time is that video production is like real estate. Here's the deal. Humans need shelter. And we all have access to this for video, and we all have access to cardboard boxes for shelter. And it'll get the job done. I mean, like, we're out camping, it's pouring down, raining. We're going to take the cardboard box. We're going to make the shelter out of it. It's going to get it done. On the flip side, shelter also exists on Park Avenue in New York City, and that shelter has a different cost because that shelter comes with like marble floors and marble countertops and chandeliers. So just because you need a video, you can get a video done on your iPhone, or you can get a video done by a young kid right out of college, or you get a video done by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
And those and everywhere in between. So let's really have a long conversation about what you need your shelter, what you need your video to accomplish. What are the things that are your non-negotiable on? You're non-negotiable on your CEO looking sweaty. Hey, we should probably add a makeup artist to your budget,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I really like that. It's a really great way of looking at it. I mean, I get this conversation all the time where you're always having to try to, I say for me, I'm always having to try to talk to people, and there's levels of conversation. So the first level is like, do they even know that they need video? And like, that's a conversation I don't want to have, because I'm like, if you don't realize the power of video and marketing these days, then you're not ready for me. You're back there. And then the second level would be, all right, you need video. That's great. And then they're thinking, well, how little do we have to spend to make anything? Like, we're just going to put it out on ads. We're going to do Facebook. We're going to do whatever. What do we have to do here? And I'm always like, well, it's still not quite asking. It's kind of like, it's like a thing that they don't know what to do with it. And so therefore they don't want to invest in it. They don't realize the power of it. And so I spend a lot of my time trying to explain exactly that. Like, well, I could just let my daughter run around with the camera in your office, and we'll be like, come work here. This is a great place to work. And it would be real, and there's your people smiling and the camera's going like this, but it would work. Or you can, do it in the, like you said, like the more realistic, way that people want to watch it. I always view it like you're fighting for the attention on whatever the platform that you're using. You're fighting for the eyeballs, and you're doing it, and you'll have seconds to do it. And so it's like, yes, you have to decide, on the one hand, where do you want to live? A cardboard box or, Park Avenue? That sounds great. At the same time, the people that you're trying to sell to, you're competing for that amount of attention. And so how much, how much do you want to put forward to try to win those eyeballs and win those few seconds to get your message across? So anyway, so that's all interesting. Tell me a little bit about how has from the day you started, because you said you started this company back, I think around 2003 or 4, right? And then there was a little bit of a debacle there with your name. What was that about?
So I just had a little meeting with a young person who in his 20s in New York City. A guy wants to post it online. He was like, I'm trying to start a film company. What should I do? What's the first move to start a film company? And we just it was like someone who had made some referrals for me. So I was like, hey, let's do lunch, So we sat down and had lunch. And I was like, what's the struggle? And he was like, I'm like, are you ready to spend money on a lawyer and whatever? And he's like, no. I was like, here's the first thing you need to do. And this is my advice coming from me starting my own company. The first thing you need to do is make sure your company name is available as a URL. And that's not even needed anymore, because you can start a company and then have an Instagram. But when I was starting in 2004, it was like the .coms were all being bought up.
Right.
And I originally wanted to name my company Kinetic Images. Kinetic Images means motion pictures. And that was I'm a genius. So the first thing, as a creative, I went and I created a motion graphics, this guy holding up his hands, framing a shot. I put it on the front of 3 videos, and then my first client wrote me a check to Kinetic Images. I'm like, oh, how do I even cash this thing? And I'm like, I learned about DBAs, doing business as, and I filled the paperwork, $40, sent it to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to do business as Kinetic Images, and they replied, rejected. There's already a Kinetic Images in your state. You either pick another name or get their permission. Well, a month later, they had not responded. And so I'm like, I guess I need another name. So it was just kind of funny that I created a name without even knowing if it was a legit name, if I could get it. I called my client back. I'm like, hey, can you rewrite that check to Kevin Hackenberg until I figure this thing out? So yeah, eventually came up with Get Kinetic. The URL was available. I did not do enough research about branding, because it turns out that no one can spell kinetic, even if they know what the name what it means.
Right.
They spell it totally wrong. KENETEC, all E's, or you call on the phone. It's like, how do you spell Connecticut? Get Connecticut. I'm like, no. Oh, it's Get Connected. No, it's Get Kinetic. What does that even mean? The energy, kinetic energy. Never heard of it. I'm like, oh my word. Did you not go to science class when you were in 8th grade?
Oh, anyway, they probably weren't paying attention. Probably looking at the cute person next to them and missed the whole thing.
Yeah. So when you're starting a company, there's at the back of this book called What Clients Love. I think it's What Clients Love. It's a great little business book. At the back of it, there's an appendix with 40 questions, maybe 20. Feels like 40 when you named your company wrong. They're all great questions. Is it easy to spell? Do people understand it when you say it on the phone? There's a great ideas for if you're thinking about starting a company, branding a company. It's a great little 20 questions to ask yourself before you name your company Get Kinetic.
Yeah. That's great. So now you have your company, you figured out the name situation, got it all figured out. You've been kind of building up your client base, and now you're here now, and you've gotten quite a few amazing clients. Tell me a little bit about which one of the, or maybe not which one of the clients, but what kinds of projects are you working on that has gotten you excited? You're really pumped to be a part of these campaigns or anything like that? Or I guess let's stay with that. Let's stay with the positive. What's got you excited?
Well, I love everything about storytelling, and from that, I love video. It's just really fun to create images. I come from a fine art photography background, and so doing fine art photography over time is really beautiful. I think that there's definitely jobs we take because like, hey, I'm free today, and you offered me to make a video, and here I am helping you build a shelter to market your thing. Today we were at a manufacturing plant doing a video they're pitching to a new client. One of the things I was going to say back to that real
Sure.
aside back is when you're pricing, what I often like to try to do with clients is like saying, hey, if I make you this video and you get to sell one thing out of it, what's that one thing valued at? Because sometimes you're like trying to sell something that's very high value, but you don't have to pay a lot for your this. Like, it's video is a cloning tool.
Right.
You have to use it to kind of clone your business, clone you as a CEO. Back to what I get really excited about. I get excited about a lot of things, but I'll tell you this story. Maybe you'll see it on my website or on our Vimeo channel. I don't think it's on our website. I gotta put it on our website. I got a chance to direct Neil Patrick Harris a few years ago.
I did see his name on your website.
Yeah, and we did a bunch of book trailers, and so I directed his book trailer. The funny story behind this is that our client was Random House, and we were doing a lot of like super no budget book trailers for them. They were like, what's your? I was like, what's your budget? And they told me a number. Like, oh wow, how are we gonna do that? But the first book trailer we did for them was a book about introverts. Very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, a book about widows. Kind of sad. The third one was like about being financially fearless, nonfiction. Oh, these are good books. They called me, they sent me an email on a Friday and were like, hey, we've got this like celebrity book trailer we want to do. And can you talk to us about it next Wednesday? And I'm like, awesome, cool. So let's set up a meeting. But in my brain, I'm thinking like introverts, widows, and financial fearless. Like, what's their definition of a celebrity?
Right.
So over the weekend, my wife is binge watching How I Met Your Mother, and I'm like, I just kept thinking to myself like, Neil Patrick Harris, man, that guy is just an amazing, talented actor. So entertaining. On Monday, I was in a job out of town, and I went to staying overnight at his hotel, and I was like, oh, I got time. I'm going to see a movie. And A Million Ways to Die in the West was playing, and Neil Patrick Harris is in it, playing like the handlebar mustache villain. And I'm like, oh, he like totally stole the show. I woke up at the Holiday Inn, got the USA Today at breakfast, was turning through it. In the literary section, I see Neil Patrick Harris is going to release a choose your own adventure autobiography. And I literally said to myself, like, I got this meeting tomorrow. Like, I mean, it's going to be a widow or some famous politician that I get to do this book trailer for. And, but I said, what the book trailer I want to do is Neil Patrick Harris's choose your own autobiography. The next day, get on the phone with a client. I was like, all right, so who's the celebrity? And she said Neil Patrick Harris, and I screamed. I was like, oh my God. And her next question was like, are you okay working around celebrities? And I was like, I've worked on celebrities my whole career. I just have never been stalked by one before.
Right.
So I mean, that's a fun story. I just like, but Neil Patrick Harris to like literally like I get excited for anything, breaking out a camera and telling a story and framing up a cool shot. I really do.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his as well. Although I just watched the new Matrix movie, and while he did do a good job, the movie was a jumbled mess. But we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to go there.
I haven't seen it yet, but I got to watch it.
Yeah, you go watch it. We'll talk after. We'll see what your thoughts are. So let's just real quick talk about what's going great for your business right now, and what are the areas of your business that you're struggling with or having to work on.
What's going great is about 4 years before the pandemic, I went virtual. And that was the decision to, as a creative and a business owner, it was a decision to try to like really focus on the numbers and to really live a different kind of lifestyle as an owner. And before the pandemic, before 2008, before that recession, we were growing. And we really, after 2008, we kind of plateaued. And I used to say like, hey, plateau is the new growth, because here we are. And then it became like such a plateau, and could be me kind of getting in and out of like creative elements and whatever. But one year as a company, we'd like make some money. Next year as a company, we'd lose a little bit. And it just was the kind of thing where I wanted to do like a reset. And it was really great to kind of like just have the cost lowered of business to get into the pandemic. So that was kind of a good thing. We just kind of downsized and we're very, very much more flexible. There's so much change going on in all technology, going from bigger cameras, special cameras to DSLRs. We kind of like play the gamut. We, co-own an Alexa Mini, which is like one of the highest cameras in the land and highest price too.
Yeah.
But we also shoot a lot on DSLRs and whatever we need to. So we I'm as an older guy who likes some of the bigger gear, more expensive gear, I still try to, work with that kind of stuff, but also form partnerships to kind of like own it and maintain it. But also, so that's kind of, I'm trying to figure out where I fit in now, to be honest. I'm trying to figure out where I fit in now and really trying to, one of my, I guess I was talking about this earlier. One of my strengths is finding young talent and, getting them out of college and training them up. And they hang out in my company for a few years and then migrate on. So I'm really good at training young talent to be great filmmakers, great cinematographers, and great technicians so I don't know. Did I answer the question? I don't know what the question was anymore.
No, that's great. It's great. I was just a little bit curious. You said that when you were dealing with times where it was a little bit, you said there were some good years and some years where you lost. Like, how did you kind of deal with that? Did you make any major adjustments, or what was the situation there?
Yeah, I had one of the things we did was I'm a big fan of real estate, so I own my own property, but we had a small studio, but we weren't really making any income off of it. And so we ended up going virtual. I had to let go of some staff, which was definitely, that's one of the hardest things that you do as a company owner.
Right.
And especially people that they've done such a great service for you and your company, and just like, hey, the business has changed and you're so talented, but we just don't have the need right now in that sector. We had a phenomenal motion graphics artist in-house, and a lot of our clients were bringing in their own editing suites, and kind of like, competing with our, we just didn't have the sales for needing that kind of staff at the moment. We're getting back into it. We're about to, bring in a full-time person who's a little more versatile, who can go on shoots as well as, do some After Effects and stuff. So it's just about being versatile and look at the things that, you're spending money on every month. And if they're not generating money, put focus on sales on that. And if that's not working because the market has shifted, then, try something new. And I think that's for me as a creative, for the past 20 years, I've been really focused on each project. And that's where somebody's got to be focused on each project, on delivering the beautiful video real estate that you've sold. But I think that's also what you need to do as a company owner, is being focused on the company. What direction are you headed? What are the right human resources and physical resources to get there, and then saying no to some of the other things that are just fun to have around, or working them into a whole theme to kind of figure it out. So that's been my challenge, is becoming a little less of a director, a little more of a company owner.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Let's change gears just a little bit because again, I'm fascinated with all things that are related to video and marketing in general. Right now, obviously, social media is a huge, kind of almost hand in hand thing with video these days. And I'm just curious, what's your experience right now with all these different clients you're working with? What platforms are working really well? Where do you see your content going as far as placement? And what kinds of things are you doing that are that you think are interesting or are working on these social media platforms?
So it's interesting. I've not really dove deep into social media for ourselves. I mean, we use it. We're on Facebook. We're on Vimeo. We're taking advantage. I'm a big fan of Gary V.
Mm-hmm.
Who Gary V is.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's out there. Use it. It's free. So we're going live a lot. Just being like, hey, we're on set. Check it out. It's fast. It's furious, and it's out there. And like I said, video is a cloning platform. It looks really bad. I mean, it looks like I think your daughter should come to my set and go live as my cameraman. It probably look better than me doing it. I'm really happy with the content we're putting out for our clients, but on our side, we're just kind of like, hey, let's go live and show the behind the scenes. I think that, and we're actually kind of generating a lot of views from it, like live people watching it with us while we go live. It's like sometimes it's 0, sometimes it's 5, but you check back in a day later and there's like hundreds of views. Maybe they're scrubbing through it, maybe they're just coming and going, but I mean, to me, that's one of the things I'm just trying to take advantage of. What's the tools in my pocket to keep in front of people. What we're doing, we've got other people with more strategy behind their work than I do, our clients. And so what we're actually doing is we're franchising a brand that started down in New Zealand from a friend of mine called Video Taxi. And what it is a way to give companies a high-end producer, shooter, editor for an hour at a time. So it's kind of a subscription-based business model to let people say, hey, just sign on for a subscription and you need an hour of drone over your industrial complex. We're going to charge you for an hour. So there's definitely different. We're because of the demand from our clients for social media content. We're coming up with a new brand way of doing business that will allow us to allow you to call Kevin Hackenberg and get kinetic, a team approach, or if you call me for video, I might recommend to your company the Video Taxi model, which is more geared at helping you create lots of content inexpensively.
Have you noticed which platforms your clients tend to be most interested in? Is it still Facebook and Instagram, or is anybody expanding out to things like TikTok, etc.?
I haven't had anybody go TikTok yet that I know of. But yeah, Facebook, Instagram are definitely the big winners. Some of the brands, they want to start putting stuff on YouTube, of course, because they're doing high-end videos with us. So they want to fill out their YouTube channel and get some views that way, or just use their YouTube channel as a tool for embedding on their website, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you notice most of or I guess I shouldn't say most, do your clients come to you with the idea of building out their YouTube channels, or is it more of we need a video made, can you please make this one video or maybe a couple videos for these purposes? How are they viewing video content? Are they seeing it as a whole picture, like channel layout and ongoing, or is it more just like as the need is?
So I think about like, I don't know, when YouTube started, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, I started seeing, especially because we started having clients say, hey, we want to make these series of videos. And so we would immediately think to ourselves like, oh, your company has a YouTube channel. It has one video on it. What if we could make you content on the regular and give you an opportunity to put out new content? So we started pitching when people would come to us with like, hey, we want to do 3 videos. We'd kind of add on and be like, what if we consider 12? There's 12 months in a year, gives you 12, first of the month, you put a new video out. So we were pitching that about, 8 years ago. And now I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago, our clients started saying to us like, hey, we want to do a series. The challenge there is when they want to do a series at a high-end level, you have to multiply those costs over those number of episodes. You get some savings, some savings in bulk, the more you do. And so mostly, we've had a couple of clients that last year, actually right before the pandemic, had 2 clients. They weren't doing series for the purpose of social media. They were doing series for the purpose of like kind of a sales tool, making videos for each of their little products. It was an insurance company. And we ended up, before the pandemic, we did about all the scripting, and we were ready to go, and had to wait until things opened up again to film. One talent, we had like these 2 days. One was like an American talent speaking English, and we did, I think that in one day in the studio, we did 13 scripts that got translated into what's 13 times 4, 4 different versions of these scripts. Mm-hmm. One different brands. We filmed one white, but we bring in a new brand. So the scripts were generic, but we basically, at the end of it, we created like 72 pieces of content for, if you broke it down by content, it was like $500 each video. But because it was organized and created, that client got an amazing value.
Right.
Now the amazing value, and because it was organized and very structured up front, we were able to like make them tons of content that they could really see like the value and the value in getting it out there. We were giving them cardboard prices for what looked like,
right,
a suburban home.
Do you see any companies out there? Have you caught any commercials where you're seeing video marketing happening with some brand that has caught your attention that you think they're doing a really great job? Has anything kind of grabbed you?
Oh man, I'm on this great Facebook group called Where's Spot, and Where's Spot is a bunch of commercial producers from all over the U.S. and the world that kind of share resources. Hey, I'm going to be shooting, in Dallas area. Who do you know? You got to get on there for real. If you say you're filming in New York City or Philadelphia, I'm usually responding, here we are. Here's my resources to share with you. But on that site also, some of the people that run the site, will post some ads that they think are phenomenal. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head that put me on the spot, but I guess we come back. I'll
I bring it up.
Send me the link when this posts, and I'll add a comment like, here's my answer. 5 weeks later, here's my answer.
Yeah, social media for the win. Yeah, no, I just watched a little ad spot today that I hadn't caught yet that was put out by Mint Mobile, which is Ryan Reynolds' cell phone company or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And it was funny because he actually I'm
on Mint. I'm on Mint, and if you pause the recording, I'll run and get this little. First off, Ryan Reynolds. Oh my. I want to cheat on Neil Patrick Harris with Ryan Reynolds. I'm saying, but Ryan Reynolds with Mint, like he sends out all these like for a holiday card. We got this little like Ryan Reynolds stand up. It was just so perfect. So yeah, anything Ryan Reynolds does is good by me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he actually has one of his kids doing this commercial, but he's trying to talk and he's just in front of a green screen. It's still green. They haven't even put a background on it, or anything. He's just, he's trying to do his little Mint Mobile, commercial thing, and the camera keeps drifting down. He keeps telling her to come back up, whatever. And it's like this total amateur hour. And of course, it's Ryan Reynolds, so you watch it. If it was me, I don't think it'd be quite as successful. But I think it's just so clever. He's definitely got one of the most clever beats on catching me, because whenever he puts out an ad, I definitely almost always will watch it. And I'm not on Mint Mobile, but it's I know the company's name. It's sticky, which is what you want. So he's doing something right.
But by the way, if you're in T-Mobile service area, get on Mint Mobile. It's only $25 a month. It's like insane. It's insane how much my bill is going down. Like Ryan Reynolds. That was before Ryan Reynolds was an owner. Speaking of Ryan Reynolds, I'll tell you. Here's one I remembered. I want to say it wrong. Peloton.
Oh, Peloton or Peloton. Peloton, yeah, the bike, the exercise bike.
Did you see Ryan Reynolds' response ad?
Yes.
To Mr. Big dying.
Yes.
On the new. Yeah, did you see that ad?
I don't think I've seen that one. I just know he did the original one when they had the awkward ad that they had put out, and then he responded by the girl in the bar drinking. I haven't seen the new one. So I just met a guy who works for Peloton, and he was like, I was like, dude, you guys gave they paid, I believe they paid for a product placement to have, or at least signed off to allow that one of their bikes to be in the new Sex and the City movie. And the opening scene is Mr. Big dying of a heart attack while riding a Peloton. And so there's this whole like, oh my word, like they gave the rights. It's like Peloton logo to him having a heart attack. Boom. And it's just like bad, just like the worst marketing flub in the world. Well, Ryan Reynolds called Peloton like right away. We're like, hey, book Mr. Big, and we're going to like do another spot. He wrote this spot, and it starts out with like the riding bike, and it comes back, and Mr. Big's with another woman, and he's like, and is basically, I think it's Ryan Reynolds doing a voiceover, is like basically saying that like, no, seriously, working out is good for your heart. You're going to live longer. And then you show Mr. Big's face, and he's like, I'm still alive, whatever. But he did this like, and they produced this ad in like 48 hours. They did the whole ad in 48 hours after it blew up that he was killed off in the movie. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely noticing if you have that kind of speed and capability and you're fast, like I've definitely noticed that you can make some huge headway with your brand if you can be fast and get it done quickly, which is why I'm definitely, my selling point with my company, Hello Coco, is to build out channels. And part of it is the flexibility to be able to create fast content. Because, if you go through the normal channels, you've got to, wait on the client. The client says, hey, I need a video about this. Then you pitch them the idea, you get something that works, you script the whole thing out, you set a production date, you film the thing, you edit the thing, you get it back to them, and they place it on Facebook or whatever. But by the time no matter how fast you go, the bureaucracy of that is just, it slows everything down. But if you have a team that you can do something like that, where you're like, hey, let's do this fast, let's get it out tomorrow, even if we're filming on cameras, you can get hundreds of thousands of views just because you did something that was timely and speedy. Definitely something Gary Vaynerchuk would be all about. And I think more companies need to be thinking that way, because, the traditional model of spending 4 to 8 weeks to create something is, on some things it's great, but on other things you're just going to miss the ball. By the time you come out, it's past.
On branding, on creating the brand, it's so important to take your time to think about it. I mean, seriously, go to the back of the book and don't name your company Get Kinetic. But on the flip side, once you have that brand and it's solid, and you can partner with Hello Coco, Video Taxi, Get Kinetic, whatever, and have your assets stored one place, and have a team that's responsive and can work, 24/7 if needed, and are compensated for it.
Yeah, always.
And people and have that responsiveness. What's beautiful about the social media is the responsiveness.
Right.
Like the Bernie Sanders memes that come out. Like
they're just killing me.
That responsiveness. If you can kind of like get your brand into that opportunity, the cost effectiveness of spending a few $1,000s on production to ride that social media wave is amazing.
Yeah. Over Christmas, did you happen to see the memes that were going around that had to do with the burned pie? I forget who it was.
No.
Oh man, some woman had burned a pie and had posted and had gone back. Oh man, I can't. The name. Somebody's gonna comment below and let us know what the brand was. But it was so funny because it was a brand of pumpkin pie, and they're like, "Thanks, brand, for burning my pie" or whatever. And people just ran amok with it. I probably saw 30 memes at least just over this burned pie. And I was like, "Thanks, brand," whatever it was. Anyway,
yeah, it's awesome.
All right. Well, I have one more question for you before we wrap things up here. If let's pretend you had to start a business today, it wasn't a video business. Let's say you go out there and you're, making cookies or something. I don't know. I don't know what your other hobbies are, but let's say you were having to start a business from scratch today. What are the things that you would think are the most important as far as marketing goes that you would start implementing immediately? Like the most things that stick out that you know of now from your wisdom. What would you be doing and why?
I think it would be make it a concept that's simple and easy to understand. That's something I have a challenge with. I mean, for me at the beginning of my career, it was like Kevin Loves Video. That could have been the name of the company, Kevin Loves Video. Back then it was like film and video. There was not everybody was shooting digitally. They were shooting on 16 millimeters. So I would not have chosen Kevin. I would have chosen Kevin Loves Film and Video. But yeah, choose something that you, as a company, choose something that you love, because you're gonna. It's tough to run a company. Is tough, so you have to love what you do, and sort of marketing it. It's all referral. I mean, referral. Just tell your friends and family. If they don't believe you, So the best advice I can give was given to me after I already knew this advice, but it's put in this form. TTP. TTP is the best marketing. Talk to people. And then if that doesn't work, TTMP. Talk
to more people.
Yeah. And it was, back to Gary Vee, we all have the tools to talk to as many people as who will listen. Some female friends of mine, my wife included, will kind of like get on and be like, "Oh my word, my friend just joined a multi-level marketing group, and now they wanted me to post about why I need such and such." But multi-level marketing works because people talk to people,
right?
And
almost too much.
And honestly, that's what made my company start. I talked to people, and people knew what I was passionate about, and they could see it in the work, and they could see it in how I talked, and so they knew how to position me when hey, you need the cheapest video in the world done? Yeah, don't talk to Kevin. He's going to take way too much time, and then he's going to want to charge for it. You want a really good video done? Talk to Kevin. He'll figure out how to do it at your budget. So,
well, that's awesome. Well, we're just going to end on that note because I don't know what else I can do to add to that. So, all right, let's
play some music to fade out.
Yeah, I'll play the music. In fact, here we go. We'll just turn it on just for you. Kevin, thanks so much for being on the show today. It was awesome. I greatly appreciate your wisdom. I'm going to take some of that to bank myself. Well, this has been the Hello Coco podcast. You'll find the relevant links from today's show in the show notes, including all of Kevin's awesome information. And if you're in Pennsylvania looking for a video guy, please look him up at Get Kinetic. We'll spell that out for you. It's get-kinetic.com. If you enjoyed our show, please give us a 5-star rating and a review, and be sure to tell your friends. And then it helps us make more episodes like this one if you support us, because, you know, we appreciate it. Another way you can support us is by following us on our social media and YouTube channels at Hello Coco Agency. And that's all for this episode, folks, so go get after it.